Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
Welcome to your Tuesday night stock picking brawl. It's a stock picking brawl now, is it? It's mean, it's fast, it pulls no punches in this share shootout. I'm Bruce Whitfield. You're watching CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. Govender from Vunani Private Clients is a two-time victorious veteran of share shootout. He takes on the battle-scarred Chris Gilmour, whose only honour from ABSA Investments is he won the first program. He's back to try and unseat the Gov. The most convincing stock picker wins a lovely tandoori chicken curry with the Guptas. The loser needs to find them an airport to leave from now that they've been prevented from utilising the creature comforts provided by Air Fast Space Waterkloof. Both of our guests have pre-picked 3 shares. They're keeping them close to their chests. Neither of them knows what the other holds, but at some point during proceedings, they have to accept at least one of their competitors' picks. The longer they leave it, the more likely they are to have to accept something they don't like. Each has got 30 seconds to argue their stock pick. We'll then interrogate their choice, we'll humiliate them, and eventually, if they don't walk out before the end of their show, their picks either get shot down or accepted. It's not that complicated. That's how Share Shootout is won on what is arguably the most vicious stock picking show on television. Chris Gilmour, it's hardened up a lot since you won on that easy first day. But because we like you, and we're going to go to the Gov first. Viv, I look at your picks this evening. I don't see anything particularly courageous, which in itself is pretty brave in a market which is quite fully priced. So I'd like for these, in the next 30 seconds, to hear the rationale for picking Vodacom.
Well, it's a great safe stock. It's in the right area. The mobile sector is growing. It has had declining prices with regards to its voice operations, but its data is growing fast. And backing up that data growth is that it's got a great strategy when it comes to smartphones. Usually it's the first to get out with a smartphone out there. The demand for data and smartphones is growing exponentially. It's going to be the number one, your most important computing device. So you have a company that basically is in the right area. It's safer than its competitor MTN. It's giving you nice strong dividends. Why not have it in an economy like this? Okay, there we go. Viv Govender. He fits more words into the 30 seconds than anybody else in the history of Share Shootout. Chris Gilmour, tell me why you think Vodacom is either the best idea you've heard today or just incredibly dull.
It's a little bit on the dull side, I have to confess, but dull is good in this kind of market. It's when you've got that kind of dividend yield, and as the Gov says,
a dividend yield of 6.5%.
It's very, very good.
Robust,
It's excellent. I can't really dispute this one. I would actually like to quite accept that one. I like the data story particularly in South Africa.
But how do these guys get away with charging us what they charge us for data in perpetuity?
Well, one of the interesting things about Vodacom is they're starting to become a bit more nimble, a bit more nifty in their offerings. If you scratch the surface and look at what they are offering, for example, if I go to voice, there's this type of thing. There's some quite innovative moves on that one. Speak for 3 minutes, get a whole hour, this type of thing. And then if you're an insomniac, you can get 5 hours in the evening from 12 to 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I think if you look hard, you find there's some actually good deals in Vodacom.
No, good deals involved, and that's the point. They're good deals there, but how do those deals translate into bottom line profit for this company? Viv, help me out on that.
Well, even though the price per megabyte may be falling, the amount of megabytes you're going to be using is going to be rising quite steeply. I mean, we're going to go to a cloud-based scenario, so you won't have your iPod or whatever it's having all your music on it. It'll be in your cloud, and you'll basically be streaming everything to and fro. And when you have that environment here, which is the most efficient way to do things, in terms of storage, in terms of what you're carrying in your pocket, etc., you're going to have a huge amount of data requirements, and that is where the future is going to be. What we're doing right now is just scratching the surface. We are back with basically these old DOS computers. Imagine 10, 20 years down the line and what the demand for data is going to be then. Even if the price falls dramatically, it's still going to be quite a nice profit margin.
But I'm just disappointed in that we have to take Vodacom over MTN, which is far more adventurous and far more exciting.
MTN has been far more adventurous, admittedly. And we saw a few weeks ago an indication that they might be getting back onto the acquisition trail again. But having said that, the last acquisitions, the supposed acquisition, not too wonderful. Don't get me wrong, I love MTN, great share. But Vodacom, I think, in the sense that, it's more of a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get.
What is a what? A WYSI?
What you see is what you get.
A WYSIWYG.
WYSIWYG.
That's wonderful, thank you. So your WYSIWYG gets the big thumbsy wumsy upsy. Oh boy, it's little people's playtime here on Share Shootout. Right, let's see if we can get WYSIWYG into your next pick, Chris Gilmour, because your first one this evening is Tsogo Sun Holdings. Now this is the old this is the old Gold Reef casinos, and they merged with what they called again? Oh, what were they called again? With Tsogo Sun. There we go.
Yes,
Tsogo and Gold Reef merged, created Tsogo Sun Holdings. You've got 30 seconds to tell me why you want to take a bet on this one, starting now.
I think the merger you're talking about has released some fantastic synergies. Up in Gauteng, this is the undisputed leader when it comes to casinos. And then when you look at the hotel side, going extremely well here and in the rest of Africa, up in Dubai. No, this thing is sitting on a relatively low, very modest PE, and we saw our trading update the other day, I think 25 to 30% earnings growth. I think if you have to find a consumer-oriented stock that is quality and it's going to be sustainable, this is one that sticks out.
Okay, but now here is a company, what I like about it is it's one of very few companies at the moment that's doing massive investment. Huge investment into its African operations, huge investment into its casino operations in Gauteng, growing those operations, spending money on actually putting bricks and mortar down to it.
Yeah, that's great if the consumer underlying it is going to be doing well. And unfortunately, I think the consumer is probably going to be hitting a bit of pressure in the next few years. And so do you really want to be investing into an environment in which your customer is going to be, spending a bit less, and the thing that you basically are providing, the thing that he can actually afford to cut out of his budget. I mean, you may not be able to cut out food or rent, but gambling may be something that he maybe just say, I can do without this month.
What is your response to that, Chris Gilmour?
I think if you look at historical trends, gaming has been resistant to the impact of recession for a long time.
Astonishingly so.
Yes. So people in good times, they spend an awful lot, devil may care. But when things tighten up a bit, yes, they spend perhaps a little bit less, but they're still very inclined to go along to these dens of iniquity, as some people call them, and spend money. And they're still pumping.
Okay, still pumping. People are pumping. South African consumer, people with jobs have kept their jobs. People with jobs have less disposable income. There's been some interesting research coming out recently. But the point is, they're still there. They've kept their jobs. We haven't had the big crash out recession that 2008, we ran the risk of having in 2008. These things continue to grow. And it's a better bet than the huge resorts focus of Sun International, surely.
Yeah, look, I think the gambling addictive, and therefore it's good to have an addictive customer base to a certain extent. But that being said, I mean, there will come a time when the crunch hits down, and we are going to be hitting into the next few years where I do think the consumer is going to be under pressure that he wasn't feeling for a while. Interest rates are not going to stay here forever, okay? We are going to have a situation, or even if they are staying here forever, the free credit that was being available before, that's been cut back. Banks are cutting back in the amount of credit that they're giving out at the moment. We are also going to have a situation in which unemployment is probably going to be increasing. We have like the stuff with Amplas right now with the 14,000 workers. We are seeing things or signs in the country that the future for the consumer is not as rosy as they were, even despite the financial crisis in the last few years.
So do I hear you
shooting it down? Shooting
it down. Eliminated and destroyed. Maybe he's going to regret it, because I look down your list of picks further, Chris Gilmour. I see a multiple of, ooh, okay, very brave of Govender. But let's get on to your second pick this evening, because your second pick has been the best